It's all about, for me, understanding what are the challenges, the problems the client's facing. And then from there, we can craft the approach of what works best for them and to see what fits best for them. I do have started offering some workshops and some synchronous material that the clients can go through and work on in between sessions as well. So there is some progress there for them to continue tracking things and track progress in between our one-on-one sessions or our group sessions. And so that's one of my goals for the business in the next 1 to 3 years, is looking at what are other resources and materials that I can develop that's people can engage with synchronously, that it's not going, they could do this in between the sessions. It's not so much hands-on for me. So that makes our one-on-one engagements or our group engagements that much more powerful and effective, because there's activities and things that they can do. And that helps me to expand my capacity.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets, the podcast where we talk with successful career coaches on how they built their success and the hard lessons they learned along the way. My name is Davis Nguyen, and I'm the founder of Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, and even $100,000 weeks. Before Purple Circle, I've grown several 7- and 8-figure career coaching businesses myself, and have been a consultant at 2 career coaching businesses that are doing over $100 million each. Whether you're an established coach or building your practice for the first time, you'll discover the secrets to elevating your coaching business.
Welcome to Career Coaching Secrets Podcast. I'm Pedro, and today's guest is Tony Smith, a management professional and U.S. Air Force veteran with more than 15 years of experience across organizational strategy, change management, and business process improvement. He's worked in both public and commercial sectors, leading complex re-engineering efforts that help organizations operate more effectively. His work focuses on aligning people, processes, and strategy, from talent management and organizational design to resilience and inclusion initiatives. He's known for bridging senior leadership and frontline teams to turn insight into practical improvements that support real mission impact. Welcome to the show, Tony.
Thank you, Pedro. It's an honor to be here. Thank you guys for inviting me.
It's great to have you. We're more than honored. And, Tony, I'm kind of a sucker for that first edition of the superhero comic book. So I like to know the origin story, okay? So let's backtrack a little. Every coach has a moment where they look at their life and say, hey, looks like I'm doing this now, right? So when was that for you?
Well, Pedro, it's hard to pinpoint one single moment, because I think for me, I've been preparing for this job as a coach and career as a coach my whole life. There's been an arc across my life that is one of adaptability, resilience, and creativity and curiosity. I can trace it back to growing up as a young teen in rural Georgia. And when I was 16, I grew up in a poor working class family, and my parents didn't drive, so we didn't have a car. We depended on other people to help us move around. And I was working part-time and wanted to get a car. So that summer, I realized even though others saw obstacles and challenges, I saw opportunity if I was adaptive and resilient and creative. And so I rode my bicycle all over town that summer until I found a car I could afford. And I bought that car. Now, most people probably think, what's your first car like? It was a turquoise blue Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme with T-tops. They're removable. So you couldn't tell that 16-year-old kid, he wasn't cool with that open-top car. But that car was a symbol for me of opportunity and for growth and freedom, not only for me, but for my family. And that was a drink of water for me to help me adapt in my career, my life, through other changes and other challenges I had. So when I joined the Air Force when I was 20 and had to be adaptive and resilient and creative and curious about moving into a new culture, into a new position, serving overseas. When I left the Air Force, I worked the first 6 years in commercial. I was laid off 4 times due to reductions in force and downsizing, mergers and acquisitions. Had to call upon that arc again, my adaptability, resilience, and creativity to guide my career and the changes. 20 years later, I was in a job that I was successful in, and it only required me to have years of experience, not a degree. But then suddenly it required a bachelor's degree. So at 47, I had to go back to school full time while working full time and get my bachelor's degree. And I achieved my bachelor's degree. I then went on and got a master's in industrial organizational psychology. And that master's program, 3 classes before I graduated, was the tipping point for me as a coach. So I was 3 classes from finishing the program. And I was in this advanced stats program, which was really kicking my butt. I couldn't deal with it. It was making me question my whole program and why I was here. And a friend of mine who was also a colleague that I had worked with as a consultant was working as a coach. My first time working with a coach with him. And that coaching experience helped me to get the clarity I needed and the resources and tools that I needed to not only pass that stats class, but to pass it with an A, which is really amazing for me, who's not a math person. And it also allowed me to graduate in that program with honors. And I realized as a coach that I would be able to, that was to give back to people and help them experience what I did. That was a pivotal moment. And like I say, unequivocally, being coached or being part of a coaching partnership was transformational for me and really changed the trajectory of my career and my life. And for me, I want to be that drink of water. I want to be that resource as a coach for others to help them identify opportunities and challenges that they can develop their strategies for overcoming those challenges and times of transformation in a career and life and help them to thrive. And that's why I'm a coach today.
I like that. I like the fact that you don't have that aha moment. It was just building up naturally and organically. So I love that. And also the fact that you were 47 and go back to school and you kind of double down, it's like, oh, you want to graduate? Okay, here's a master's. I love that. And at 47, challenging yourself, really awesome. So when did it shift, from, okay, I'm coaching people, I'm helping people to, okay, this is a real business now?
Like I said, the tipping point of me kind of getting into the coaching, that really was it. I knew that I wanted to go into coaching full time and wanted to be a full-time coach in whatever capacity that was, whether it was working for another organization or on my own. And I'm towards at this stage of my career thinking about what does retirement look like? What does post-retirement look like from an encore career perspective? And it was around about a year into this that after that graduate program that I was really considering, okay, this could be something I could do full-time as a business.
Got it. Okay. And after you got it rolling, who are the people that kept showing up? Because how it is, coaches, sometimes they try to embrace the entire world, but I want to understand if you were able to niche down or if you didn't go that path or how that worked. Like, who are your people, that you realize this is my ICP?
Who's my tribe, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
so
who's your tribe?
There was a point where I was trying to define what's the right niche for me. I worked closely with a lot of colleagues and clients that came in that were experiencing different levels of transformation or change, professionally or personally or both. And it started kind of naturally taking a path, even as I tried to niche down, identify the niche in more detail for career transition coaching. And it was three levels, three kind of categories of folks that were coming to me. It was people who were experiencing career disruptions that either through rifts or layoffs or reorganizations or acquisitions, they suddenly found themselves either not out of a job in a new position, new organization, completely new career. So that was like the career disruption experience there. The other was clients who were intentionally wanting to shift to a completely different career. The journalist that wants to go into medicine, or the healthcare practitioner who wants to go in academia and teach as opposed to continuing to be in practice. So it was people who completely want to change careers or change the trajectory of their career. The third was, and continues to be, people that are approaching retirement, that are looking for defining what does post-retirement look like? What is that strategy? Is it an encore career? If you're a retired military officer, do you want to go into commercial as an executive, or do you want to go and be an entrepreneur and do something different completely? So it's those three phases of career transition, but it always has a theme of, well, regardless of whether it's the career transition or something else, it always has the theme of there's a transformative moment for them and they feel stuck and trying to figure out how to navigate that change. And that's kind of my sweet spot, because I've been there as someone who's been through this, the transitions and the unexpected, unplanned, and planned, how to navigate that transition so you can come out effectively on the other side and thrive.
Yeah. I mean, the career disruptions, considering your origin story, they align perfectly, right? Because you had to reinvent yourself so many times with the layoffs, and then you had to go to college and all of that and get your master's at 47, which is, some people think maybe I'm too old for this. And So yeah, that aligns perfectly because it's tied up with your identity. And I love that. Okay. Now that's the coaching side. Now let's talk about marketing, right? So
Yes.
how does your tribe find you usually?
So mostly it's been through referrals. I do some postings on social media and I do some marketing. I've done some events, public events, speaking events. So people find me through some of the speaking events, through social media, as well as referrals from other clients. And I really lean heavily on my network because for me, you take care of your network takes care of you. And the network is something that's very powerful for me to engage because there's ways I can help them as a coach and vice versa. There's things as I build my business that my network has been incredibly powerful for me to help me with things that I don't excel in or I don't have a passion for. And so really through my network and working with them has been helpful too in leads.
Let's say they resonate with your work, they like what I see, and eventually they want to know what working with you actually looks like. Hey, Tony, how does that work? So everyone builds their coaching business a bit differently. So when someone actually becomes a client, what does that experience look like right now?
So it's all about, for me, understanding what are the challenges, the problems the client's facing. And then from there, we can craft the approach of what works best for them and to see what fits best for them. I do have started offering some workshops and some synchronous material that the clients can go through and work on in between sessions as well. So there is some progress there for them to continue tracking things and track progress in between our one-on-one sessions or our group sessions. And so that's one of my goals for the business in the next 1 to 3 years is looking at what are other resources and materials that I can develop that's people can engage with synchronously, that it's not going, they could do this in between the sessions. It's not so much hands-on for me. So that makes our one-on-one engagements or our group engagements that much more powerful and effective because there's activities and things that they can do. And that helps me to expand my capacity.
But I want to understand, how do you think it about today from the day that you started? And were there any lessons along the way that shaped how you landed where you are right now?
Well, for me, it's all about data informed decisions, right? So going out, doing the research, looking at what information's out there through, National Coaching Federation. I'm certified through looking at other resources, other mentors who are existing coaches, and to see what's the market bear, what's the average rates, and kind of how people are structuring it. And you see all kinds of different ways that people, whether they're charging by the hour or the session or packages or other things, and just gathering some data and from there, it's been like, as I talk to my clients, it's primarily focused on this is an investment for you as the client. I want to make sure you're getting the most value based off of what your challenges are and how we're going to work together. And in my mind, I don't have an advertised rate on my website. I have a particular rate in mind where I generally work from that to say, this is what I consider my worth as a coach. And where I am now and my value and what I'm bringing and offering as investment to the clients. But then I work with the clients to come to a discussion where an agreement that fits best for them and what they're looking for. If they're looking for one-on-one coaching, individual sessions versus packages versus they want more hands-on and more engagement in between sessions. So it really is tailored for each client based off of a conversation about this, and this is an investment for you and how can I best serve you and what's going to work best for you as a client. But I think the biggest thing is pick something that works best for you as a coach that feels right based on the data that you've collected and the research you've done, and that you value and honor yourself and you're focused the value for the client and what the client's investment is. But don't overthink it. Just put something down and then test it. And just because you test something and it doesn't work, you can always adjust it. It's not a hard and fast, you put this in, you're stuck at that. So I always encourage clients who talk about the arc, creativity and curiosity and resilience, just be curious about trying something out. And, progress, not perfection. And then try it and see if that rate works, see if that approach works for you and your clients and your coaching style. And if not, you make adjustments as you move ahead.
I like that. You're so open to testing, right? So the way you see pricing, it's very interesting, at least from my perspective, especially when we're talking about different outcomes for clients, right? So it's not exactly the same workload for each client. So That makes sense. I'm curious where you're taking all this, right? Looking ahead, future wise, where do you see the business going? Are you thinking about scaling, hiring, or is there any next step you're excited about? And I know you mentioned in 1 to 3 years, develop materials and all of that, but I want to
Yeah.
understand the big picture here.
Sure. So for the next 1 to 3 years, there's kind of 3 areas I'm really focused on. The first and foremost being, what's the impact that I'm making for people, for clients? If I'm not adding value for my clients and helping them move the needle, then there's no reason for me to be here. And it's all about impact, all about helping clients and partnering with the clients so they can grow and thrive. So the first one is really increase my knowledge of my niche, my tribe, my clients, of what's the challenges they face? What are some of the problems they're having now? And how can my coaching be a solution for them? How can that partnership be a solution for them to help them to address the challenges and problems they're having, whether it's individuals, teams, organizations? What's that story you're telling yourself now that's got you stuck? And how can we rewrite a new story for you and your organization to help you move forward and achieve your goals? That's really the strong one. Understand the problem and how I can best address the problem for clients. The second one is then from that, I want to be able to grow and build and customize and grow new service offerings with my coaching and additional, whether it's advising, consulting, training, leadership development, what have you, to be able to identify those additional things that I need to create for service offerings to help address those problems for my clients. And the third one is then I want to grow my revenue, profit margin with the company in the next 3 years to where it's at least the equivalent of or exceeds my current full-time salary where I am, because I'm doing coaching now, but I'm also have another job. I want to grow it to where it replaces or exceeds my current revenue stream, to where if I do want to then shift into that full-time and leave the other work behind, that's something that I can do.
Okay. I mean, of course, whenever we're aiming toward future goals or the next chapter, there's always something we're refining, right? Trying to improve. So what are you currently trying to improve or tighten up in your business right now that would move the needle towards your upcoming goals?
The main thing right now, I'm in this pioneer phase of growing my business. And so for me, it's all about, I have my long-term goals of what I want to do the next 3 years. And I have targets in mind as far as the number of people, clients, the revenue target I want to grow. But the main focus now is lead generation and those qualified leads and identifying a steady pipeline of clients coming in that I can work with. And so working now with my network, as I said, take care of your network, takes care of you. My network, mentoring, doing podcasts like this, engaging with other coaches, having those conversations about best practices so I can learn how to best grow my network and the pipelines for clients coming in, and to continue keeping that growing. So then I can then move to the next level.
That makes perfect sense. That sense of community, it brings so much. I want to switch gears for a second now, change a bit the topic and do something a bit more fun. If you're down for it, got a quick game for you.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll look this at through the lens of business investments, like things like coaching, mastermind, training, you name it. Okay. So it's pretty simple. I'll give you 4 prompts. You tell me the first one that comes to mind. And if there's a story behind it, even better.
Absolutely.
So what's the first business investment you remember making in your coaching business?
So the first investment undoubtedly is for my training as a coach and my ICF certification. So I did a master's level executive and professional coaching program, was ICF certified, and then went through the ICF certification. That was more for myself to have the rigor that I needed to feel confident that I was going to be an effective coach for my clients. It's not to say that that's the best path for every coach. There are a lot of excellent training programs out there, but I had been coaching informally for quite some time. I'd been a consultant, an advisor, teacher, and doing that for many years. The training I got in coaching and in the professional training and coaching was very valuable in helping to equip me as a more effective coach. So that was very valuable. But I would just say that, like I said, it's not the ideal route for everybody. And there are other programs out there, but it's professional development and self-development is something that's important for all of us, whether we're coaches or anything else. So find the right program that works best for you to where you feel that you're the most effective coach.
Oh, that's so interesting you mentioned that, because we talk with coaches, all time. I talk all day, interview them, and we have that perception on coaches because they say, hey, my client asked me if I'm certified, right? It's not like that. but at the same time, it turns you into a better coach. So it's a fine line that you're like, you know what? Was that a good investment or not? Oh, yes. Right? I'm not sure if you have that
Yeah.
feeling.
I do. The issue is here, or the key point to remember is the training is helpful for you to be more effective coach, right? In general, most of my clients do not know what ICF is nor care on my certifications or what training I had. Is it a good match? Do we have a good vibe? Can we work well together? And can we make progress together on addressing the challenges we're facing as a client? And so if that relationship is there, we're making progress, that's all they care about. There are some, if you're getting into some corporate coaching, some corporate clients, there's some, or you're trying to coach on some platforms, there are some that will require an ICF certification or other formal certifications similar, even at a certain level before you can be part of that or you can bid on certain contracts. So depending on what your clients are in your niche and where you're coaching, research it and see what are the requirements? I want to work with this executive client or this corporate client. Maybe they do require a certification. And that's where I want to focus. But if your clients don't require that, like I said, most one-on-ones don't care at all. And it's not a non-issue. It was more for myself as professional development to do that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Especially, we see a lot of clients that they're trying to find out if you've been there and done that, right? Create that identity. Like Tony, he got laid off and he started studying late, getting his college and his master later on in his life. So that makes a lot of sense. So moving forward, second prompt, what's the most recent one you made business investment in the coaching business?
The most recent is my time right now engaging in these podcasts, right? Because, and I've started doing, as a part of this, working with other coaches and mentors and advisors that I have for myself about how to use podcasts, how to reach out to my network more effectively to learn lessons from others. And so that investment of my time for events like this and other engagements is something that I've made. Others around getting some of my kind of structure set up and updating, some of my content and minor things like that. But I think the most of it is just really about it's people to people. We're coaching, and this engaging in time is investing the time into learning from others and mentors and coaches ourselves. I think it's something that's very powerful and important for all of us.
I got your name here because it's a bingo. I was like, when will it be that someone will think like I'm thinking, that the podcast right now is an investment because it's time investing, right? And nobody ever said that. I was thinking someone will say this. And okay, Tony said it finally, because I was thinking, when will that happen? Because I would give that answer. I was like, that's interesting that you're thinking like time as an investment and not just money, right? So I love that. Okay. What's the best financial business investment you have made and why?
I mean, again, it would be go back to the training as far as financial investment. It was a more both financial and time, more expensive than some of the other programs, but it had the rigor that I felt was needed, that I was more comfortable. So that was the most important part for me.
What's one investment you wish you could get your money back on?
Without naming specific programs or something, it would be there were some trainings and some assessments tools that I invested in that it was like, well, these coaches have it, so I should have it too. And that's not always the case. Instead of just buying it or investing in it because someone else has it and you think you should have it too. And that's what, most coaches that are in your niche have. I think for me, it's more important to look at what's your niche, what's your tribe, your audience, your clients, what's the challenges they have, and what's your coaching style and your niche, and how can you best support them and how you partner with them to solve their problems and the challenges and create that forward momentum that they need. And then what tools and training is going to best equip you for that. And then from there, you're making data informed decisions about what assessment tools to invest in, what additional trainings to invest in, as opposed to chasing what is the next shiny object or star somebody's doing.
Got it. I like that. Okay. Looking at those, how has your approach to investing in the business have changed over the year? If it has.
I know I'm self-aware that for me, I have this tendency I'll look at other coaches or look at other professionals in the fields I've been in over my whole career. And find myself almost competing with others unintentionally. It's like, well, they have this training or this certification or this assessment tools or what have you, and I need to have it too. And if I don't, then I'm less than somehow. And instead of competing with others, I've really started more focusing on just competing with myself. And that's the only person I should be competing with. And how do I want to grow to be a more effective coach for my clients? And then what tools and training and resources and professional development do I need to make that happen, as opposed to comparing myself to others? So that's been a major shift for me over the past year. It's an ongoing battle because that's my personality, but at least being self-aware of it's half the battle, right? And then you can choose how you're responding to it.
I love that. I love the fact that the awareness is like the key to it, so you can adapt, right? It's not like we're going to have a magic bullet or something like that. It will just change everything. It's just being aware of it and adapt to it. I love that. And Tony, if someone listening wants to connect with you or follow your work, where can people find you and connect with you?
Sure. So my email address is tonysmithcoaching@gmail.com. You can also find me on my website at tonysmith-coaching. And I'm also on LinkedIn is Tony Smith Coaching as well.
Okay. There were a few things you shared today that really stuck with me. And I would say, I love the fact that you didn't had like an aha moment. I love that because it's like it was just naturally happening towards your development. I really like that. It's not like, let's say I graduate, right? It doesn't turn a day to night. Oh, now I'm a business graduate like I am, for example. I'm the same Pedro. It's not a change overnight. So I like that. So I really like the fact that you doubled down also. And hey, I'm here. Let me get a master's, right? I like that. I really appreciate. I think that's so cool. I would commend you on that. And the career disruptions identity. Creating that identity with people that have been through the same situation you had. I think that's so commendable because sometimes, I'm not saying everyone, but we see sometimes coaches that they don't want to touch there because sometimes, they got laid off, he doesn't have the money or something like that. It's not that popular. To be candid, it's not that popular. So I commend you on doing that because that's exactly what you've been through, right? And last one, I like the fact that you're so open about testing price and that didn't work. Let's try something different. It's not set to stone, right? So I love that. And also competing with yourself. That really stuck with me.
I think there's a lot to learn in the journey itself. It's important to set goals for ourselves in our business and for us individually, professionally. Like I have my own coaches, my own mentors that I work with because I can't sell in someone else coaching if I don't believe in it myself and embrace it myself and the value and importance of it. And I think we set the goals, we work towards them, but it's just important to be aware and look around and to acknowledge all the things in the journey itself. There's a lot that we can learn and things that we can be taught in the journey. And there's a lot of benefits and things to experience and to enjoy in the journey itself as you're building your practice, as you're coaching and whatever, your goals are. So I think it's being adaptive, being resilient, curious and creative, and just being open to making progress, not perfection, so you can grow your business. And there's a lot to learn from that and to learn from each other. And that's why I'm happy that this podcast is available in the community that's built here because that's very important. Again, take care of your network and your network will take care of you.
I love that. Take care of your network and your network will take care of you. So I appreciate what you do, Tony, and I appreciate you being here and sharing so openly today, and it was great having you on.
Absolutely. I really appreciate the opportunity. Pleasure meeting you, Pedro, and I look forward to staying in contact and engaging with other coaches here in the communities.
That's it for this episode of Career Coaching Secrets. If you enjoyed this conversation, you can subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this episode to catch future episodes. This podcast was brought to you by Purple Circle, where we help career coaches scale their business to $100,000 years, $100,000 months, or even $100,000 weeks, all without burning out and making sure that you're making the impact and having the life that you want. To learn more about our community and how we can help you, visit joinpurplecircle.com.